still?
That is us doing our still, because it's going to show like a little preview, and we can't be like this.
No, every time we have a preview, Helen, this is what it does. I look like this. I look like, I have this weird face on.
We both do. I'm always like,
no, you always look good on your stills. I look like I'm like swallowing some large food item and I got caught mid-chew, and that's what I look like on our stills. So were we just smiling from still? It looked like our screen froze. Hi. See the big eyes. Oh, here's our still. Here we go.
Here, 1, 2, 3. Hello, belly to breast, Fairhaven Health. Good to see you. So honored to be here on this episode of the Boob Tube.
The 15th episode of the Boob Tube.
Hi, Heather. So glad you could join us.
So what are we talking about today, Helen? What is going to be our, I don't know if everyone noticed that we were having this weird smile right when we started, because Helen and I were talking about when we do our shows, there's like right in the beginning of the video, if you're not doing this still smile, you get caught, or at least I get caught doing some weird like facial expression in the middle of our talking. So we started off our Boob Tube right there in the second with like this, where we look like we froze.
Yeah. So
we'll have to see if it works out on Facebook, if it looks like we have a good presentation smile. But, so this is episode 15, Helen. How's everybody doing? I see a bunch of people coming on. So excited to see everybody. What are we talking about today, Helen?
Today we're talking about stress and milk supply. So this is actually a really complicated topic, and I hope we have a lot of comments from our viewers and our moms and dads out there, because we all have stress in our lives. If you're a new mom, especially, but even if you're not a new mom, if you're adding a kid to the mix, or if you have other stress that comes in from jobs or your parents or your in-laws, there's all kinds of ways that we can have things stressing us. And we know that stress can affect milk supply. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. But we want to know, how did you deal with stress? How did you deal with it? And so we're going to ask you for some different comments from some different scenarios coming up here.
Yeah, we totally want input from moms, because of course, you know, who is the best person that can help another mom in her situation? It's going to be another mom who's maybe experienced that or done that. And you know, I'm excited a little bit about talking about this, because again, I think a lot of people don't, talk about some of these things that we like to talk about on the Boob Tube, which is going to be one of those, does stress actually affect your breast milk supply? So I see Sarah had a great one. Oh, I know all about stress and milk supply. So, yeah. Wow. And she had PCOS. That's something that's really good to talk about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Actually, that's going to be one of our topics later on this year. We're going to talk about PCOS. So, Sarah, be sure to tune into that one. We'd love to have your comments on that for sure.
So let's talk about some of the things that actually moms are experiencing. I think a lot of stress that moms have, or at least for me, I know a lot of my stress that I had was really that first month, those first several weeks, that first month of trying to breastfeed, of waiting for my breast milk to come in. You know, I have 2 children. One was a C-section, so I had issues with that. And the other one was a vag section, which is what I call it.
A vag section is Toby's new term. And can you define vag section for our viewers, Toby?
Well, I haven't sent it to Wikipedia yet for them to know what the term vag section is. But for all of you, it's when you start from here and you split said area open and must be sewn back together. That is the vag section. So for me, you know, definitely in the beginning, you know, just the stress of coming home and having my baby. I'm trying to learn her cries, and I'm trying to write down how many pee-pee diapers she has and how many poo-poo diapers, and obsessed that she's sleeping too much. You know, these were things that were for me were stressors for me. But I know a lot of moms have a lot of different stressors than that.
Yeah, there are some big ones that we can think of. So those ones that you mentioned are kind of the normal stresses, but there are other stresses, like if your baby has to go to the NICU, like you talked about, if you have a traumatic birth, if you labor and then you end up having a C-section, if you have a postpartum hemorrhage, if you have a postpartum infection, these are all things that can really place an amount of stress on a mom is pretty unbelievable when you're trying to recover and you're trying to take care of a new baby and you're worried about your milk supply, and then you're worried about these huge health issues. My heart just really goes out to you. And if you are dealing with these things, it's hard to even comprehend reaching out because you're under so much stress. So please, as a community of moms, if you have a friend or a family member that's having some of these high stress times, whether it's health issues postpartum or a baby having health issues postpartum, please reach out and please do what you can to take on some of those tasks and maybe relieve some stress and just really make that mom part of your supportive community.
So, I mean, that definitely makes sense. I mean, your baby's in the NICU and
Mm-hmm.
you're home.
Mm-hmm.
That in itself is a definite stress. And you're having to, instead of breastfeed in the beginning, you're having to pump in the beginning, which I think would be a huge, stress situation. And you're actually noticing what's going on. And, I definitely, I mean, that's a huge stressor, I would think. That would be a huge stressor for me.
Yeah, so this is a big thing. Health issues postpartum are a big thing, whether it's mom or baby. And for those of you that have had a baby in the NICU, we'd love to hear some comments because there's a lot of moms that are dealing with that now or perhaps in the future. Maybe moms that are pregnant now are thinking about, what would happen if I had to deal with that stress? How would I handle it? If you've been there, done that, we'd love to hear your comments. But also, not only when your baby's hospitalized, but when you bring your baby home, what is that like? If you're used to having your baby cared for by a team of doctors and nurses, and then all of a sudden it's you, and maybe your partner, if your partner's still home on parental leave, that's a lot of physical stress and emotional stress, and that can affect your milk supply as well.
Yeah, and I mean, in the beginning, you're just waiting for your milk supply actually to come in at the same time. So we're trying to get our milk supply to come in, and then we have these added stress. Oh yeah, pumping stresses me out, Selena. I totally, I totally know what you're talking about. You never feel like you can pump enough. I think for me, pumping was I always felt like I was treading water, and that any given moment I was going to go under and drown. And that was really, I mean, for me, that's what pumping felt like. And I think there's a lot of moms out there that feel that way. So you're not alone at all in feeling that way, because I think that's all of us trying to survive the whole concept of pumping. But so obviously we have coming home, your baby being in the NICU, having any medical problems with the baby could be stressors. You yourself having problems can be stress. But also coming home, I saw one of our moms said she has 4 boys. I think if I had to come home with a baby and I had
way up here. But I love Carrie's comment, so I want to be sure to post it.
Oh, wait, let's see.
About NICU for a week, and she pumped around the clock, fed on demand, stocked up your milk. So amazing. Nice. Carrie, thank you for sharing your story. That's a really wonderful thing that you did.
There you go. That is a super mom right there. I love that. And she's actually giving great advice to moms, to giving them a suggestion of what you can actually do. And, I think that is something that we're going to talk about here. We're going to talk about, obviously we talk about some stressors, but how do we relieve that type of stress, to recognize that it's there. And then how do we relieve that type of stress?
Yeah, exactly. We talked about some of the early, like the new mom, new baby kind of stress. Things like being sleep deprived. You and so I've worked night shift as a nurse for many years. You've worked 24-hour shifts. I know when I'm sleep deprived, when I'm up all night, I am like a different person. I'm like a monster a little bit. Like don't come to me with any requests because they will be denied. So
are you like a Frankenstein? So like at my department, we have two names. There's like Toby, which is like the fun, happy go, and then there's like her. So I don't have like a different name. I have like this weird name, but like my one of the girls I worked with, her name is like Christine, and then it's Christina when it's that crazy sleep deprived woman. So do you have a different name? Are you Helen and then Helena? When you're
No. Well, Sprinkles is my nice name, Sprinkles. And when I say, tell my kids, Sprinkles has left the building, and then I'll start breathing fire like that. I tell them that because I drew this picture side by side once of this unicorn with the smile and the rainbow, and it's Sprinkles. Let me read you a story. And then the other side of the paper is Sprinkles, like fire's breathing out in a speech bubble. It says, go to bed.
That's so it's Sprinkles and then demonic Sprinkles. Is that the choices for you, Helen?
That's right. So once I say Sprinkles has left the building, they know it's playtime's over. Like,
wow. Okay. Well, I would definitely agree that all moms in the beginning and are sleep deprived. So that's definitely a stressor. I'm not really sure if they're fire breathing unicorns like you, Helen, but that sleep deprivation we all have, and we definitely have that stress. And I definitely think that would affect our milk supply. So obviously we have, like you said, we have a lot of these beginning stressors, but then we kind of overcome those, we finally get into, the baby's out of the NICU. Oh, here we got another one. So Krisha, my son was in the NICU due to low blood sugar and body temp. Oh, that's scary. She exclusively breastfed. I had exclusive pump when my son turned 7 months old because he bit through. Oh, ow. Oh, gosh. I'm having nipple pain with you, Krisha. Wow. Yeah. But I pumped every 2.5 hours. Go, girl. 6 ounces. I mean, that is crazy. I love that you shared that story. And I mean, that's amazing because sharing these stories is really what helps. That's what the Boob Tube's all about is talking about stuff and sharing stories. And these comments are amazing because we are going to be giving away some products today. And the only way we can do that is by picking people that comment. So please, please, please keep those comments coming in. And if you think that this is a great topic for people, definitely share it on your own Facebook page so that we can, help as many moms as we can. So
Toby and I will go back and answer a lot of questions are coming in, and I'm so grateful for that. And Toby and I will go back. If we don't address them during the live show, we'll go back and just answer them. We'll just type back to you.
Yeah, and just sharing your stories. So, I mean, obviously we eventually kind of overcome that early on stress, right? The baby was in the NICU, or the baby was sick, or we were having problems, or our sleep deprivation. We eventually, we have multiple children. That all starts to get overcome. We kind of get into like, second month, we're in this good rhythm. The breast milk supply is in, and then we go back. And then
here we go. Later stress, back to work and pumping. Just like we talked about earlier.
So my question is how many moms that are on today had to go back to work and felt like that was probably one of the biggest stressors that they had in their breastfeeding journey? I know for me, that was a big one.
Now, you were gone for long periods of time. Toby, of course, is a firefighter, paramedic. She's gone for 24 hours at a time. So she has to pump a lot of milk to be gone for that extended amount of time. And Toby and I have done a lot of talking to moms, a lot of social media chats and conversations. One of the most frequent questions is, how can I pump more? And we know as moms, we've pumped as well, that there is, in your mind, there's a relationship between how much I pump and how much I'm making. And we know that the pump doesn't empty the breast as well as your baby does. And so that can kind of give you this message that your supply is low. If you're only pumping 2 or 3 ounces at a time, you might think, wow, that's all my baby's getting. But that's not true. Your pump is not as effective at emptying your breast. And so keep that in mind. How much you pump does not reflect how much you make.
Yeah. And I think I think the days and weeks leading up to going back to work is the big stress, because just like Amber is sharing, she was scared. that she wasn't going to be able to continue to breastfeed her daughter, have enough breast milk. So you're got this worry going on. And then the reality is then you're back to work, and can you fit the time in to pump? And then you're actually now noticing like a visual of how much milk is coming out. And I think that becomes a big stress too. So I think we've talked about all this stress, but we got to talk about how do we relieve that? We got to talk about how we're going to fix this. Let's get to the like.
I have some ideas for you, Toby. So dealing with your stress. So what did you do? Toby and I also have some ideas. We'd love to hear what you did to deal with your stress. But there's actually some really great things that you can do to deal with your stress that are pretty simple, ranging to very complicated, depending on what your energy level is. So the first thing you can do that's pretty easy is breastfeed. We know that when you breastfeed, your body releases oxytocin, which is really a calming hormone. And this same hormone is also released during an orgasm. So that is the segue into our next stress reliever, which is sex. So that's another thing that you can do. So
with your husband, right?
With your husband, an appropriate partner, or not. I mean, with an appropriate partner. Let's say that. Oh. I'm not in charge. I am not in charge of anyone's love life. I'm just telling you the information.
Darn it, because I was hoping that we would, I don't know, you know how when you read somewhere you say, oh, I'm doing this because I read it somewhere. I mean, if you have a hot UPS guy or, a hot FedEx guy or who are all these a hot, Postal Service guy or Amazon guy, unfortunately, we're not saying that that's who you go find to make your milk supply go up.
Right.
It's sex with the partner that's there with you, not finding somebody.
Hey, inappropriate partner. That's all I want to say. If you're single and the UPS guy is single, I have no problem with that. Consenting adults and all that stuff. But yes, we do know that. Yes.
Breastfeeding and then obviously having sex, helps that. I know a lot of moms know this, exercising, does endorphins, dopamine release. So that kind of helps. I know for me, a lot of my stress reliever, if anyone was from a previous show that we talked about, I played violent video games where I got to beat up zombies. And my favorite was I had a guitar. My character in the game had a guitar, and I would, beat the zombies with the guitar. That was a pretty good stress reliever for me. But I would love to know what you moms did. What commonly I think stress. Let's see, Ashley, reliever for me is a hobby. I love to sew and make things. Oh, I love that.
I love that awesome. Too. Yeah. I love that too. You're taking care of your soul, Ashley. And one thing that we really need to think about is taking care of ourselves gives us the energy to take care of other people. That when you feel fulfilled and you're rested, then you're ready to have the patience that it takes to take care of little people, right? Taking care of little people, it takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of patience. It takes a lot of thoughtfulness. I mean, it's not just physical energy, but it's this emotional energy. And when you're sewing, when you feel like you're taking care of yourself and taking care of your soul, these are all things we need to give ourselves permission to do because it makes us better moms when we take care of ourselves. So
and we have to remember that we are super moms. We have the cape. We have all these things. But we also have to remember that, asking for help, is okay too. Letting your husband help out, letting your family help out more. Don't feel, guilty that they're wanting to help. They're wanting to be a part of that journey. And sometimes that in itself, those simple little things can be stress relievers also because you're taking some time for you.
Right. And remember, this is a marathon. This isn't a sprint. Motherhood lasts for many, many years. So you get
forever.
Get people in your corner. Get some we talked about other stress relievers. One of them is laughter. Laughter releases endorphins. It's a great stress reliever. And so you can just watch the stupidest show that you know of. I was telling Toby, you should find Uncle Grandpa. It's this hilarious show. You will be dumber after you watch it, though. I'll just warn you. But you will die. It is so funny. So, or if you have a great friend, like Toby and I have this awesome friendship where we, like, our stomachs hurt from laughing whenever we have a chance to hang out. So if you have a great friend that just you can be silly with, go find it. You know, if you and your partner can have just some belly laugh time where you just, you know, are silly together.
Yeah, and you know, and finding mom groups that moms that have other babies that you can get together, and you know, you guys can sit there and talk about just the crazy life of being moms and what your little ones and maybe even what your husbands are doing, and you guys all can have moments that you're totally laughing about stuff. You know, that is definitely going to, you know, oh, I love Carrie's suggestion. She pampers herself and gets pedicures. That's a great stress reliever.
It is. Yeah. It is a great stress reliever. Yeah. Or even finding a great book or, you know, anything that kind of recharges your batteries. And it doesn't have to be what you see other people doing. We all have kind of our own little thing. If you live in the country and you love feeding your chickens, or if you love riding horses, or, you know, if you live in the city and you love, you know, going to the library or sitting under a tree and reading a book, you know, nobody gets to tell you how to recharge your soul. And so we all get to kind of find our own way to do that.
Well, and then, so, you know, that's great that we're talking about all that and we're sharing our stories with that. There are things, though, that, you know, even we're handling our stress. And I think that's something that a lot of moms do, is that they actually think that there's not any stress in their lives because they're actually handling their stress. And I would totally agree with that. We are stress handler people. That's just what being a mom is all about. But what that actually means in a physical sense is that our glass is always half full, which a lot you might view that as a positive thing, but in a stress situation, it's actually not, because then it doesn't take that much stress or that much of a situation to make your cup like overflow and stress become too overwhelming for you. So I think the one thing that we all have to remember is that, you know, we always have stress and we're always handling the stress. But when it comes to your breast milk supply, you know, it's always going to be going up and down in relation to your life. And if you're finding that, you know, you're concerned about your breast milk supply, there is actually things out there that can also, besides let's getting over our stress and helping our stress and relieving our stress, that can increase our breast milk supply. And that's some of the things that we are going to be talking about today and giving away to all these amazing comments that I see below. So, you know, the first thing that we could talk about that would be, I love Selena, ice cream, me too. Yeah. What's your favorite flavor? Mine is mint chocolate chip.
I love mint chocolate chip. Yeah.
But so there's things that we're going to be giving away, Milky's products that, you know, that the great thing about the Milky's line is not only do we have the Boob Tube where we're out there helping and talking and sharing amazing stories and encouraging moms, we also have amazing products that you could go to mymilkies.com. And all these products are invented by breastfeeding moms who have been there and done that. And a lot of these products are there to help moms in their breastfeeding journey. So since we're talking about stress and breast milk supply, I thought it'd be great that we give away some products that increase breast milk supply.
Yes, I think that's a great idea. And we have products that do them in a variety of ways, right?
Yeah. And there's different ways, but the three that we're going to give away to 3 winners is, the first one is the fenugreek. You can see that right there. And what I think is great about the fenugreek is that our fenugreek has not only the fenugreek extract, but it also has the fenugreek. It also, and I have to see right. It has the fenugreek seed extract as well as organic fenugreek. It's got like double the dose, right?
Yeah, and so you have to take fewer pills. So some fenugreeks, you're just taking it all day long and you're just continuously dosing yourself with fenugreek. And these caplets are really different, and you have to take fewer of them to get the same effect because of the concentration.
And I think that's really a huge thing, because I don't know how you moms are, but I am not the best at taking pills. And when you have to take a bunch of them, I kind of suck at it. And a lot of times the fenugreek has this, if you've ever had to do fish oil and you have the fish oil burps, the fenugreek kind of has that same thing. So the great thing about our fenugreek, or Milky's fenugreek, is that because it does have the fenugreek seed extract as well as the higher dose of the fenugreek, is that you have the ability to not take as many pills, which I think is great. That is a great situation with that. So the other product that we're going to be giving away, so I told you we're going to give it 3 to 3 moms, so keep those comments coming, is we're going to give away the nursing blend right there.
And nursing blend is one of my favorites because the extra vitamin D. Because we know that moms that are deficient in vitamin D, their milk is also deficient in vitamin D, and then usually their pediatrician recommends supplementation with 400 IUs per day for baby. But we know if mom has enough vitamin D, then baby doesn't need to be supplemented. And this has 6,400 IUs of vitamin D, which is 700% of the RDA. So
it also has extra vitamin B, which helps with your energy and helps you to, obviously have more energy, feel good, these kind of things. But then it also has the fenugreek in it as well. The fenugreek that you saw in our individual fenugreek. The great thing about the nursing blend is it has the fenugreek in it, the same dosing of fenugreek that you have in the individual fenugreek. And it also has the vitamin D and the vitamin B. So it's like a great, how we call it, nursing blend. So I think that's a great product to give away. And then our third one is our nursing time tea. And I really love the nursing time tea. The big difference with the nursing time tea is that it actually doesn't have fenugreek, because there are some moms that don't do very well with fenugreek. They don't like the taste, they don't like the flavor, but also medically they might not be able to do the fenugreek. But it has a lot of other herbs that are known to help increase breast milk supply. Like blessed, you got the blessed thistle, you have the goat's root, you have the fennel seed. I mean, these are great herbs that can help to increase breast milk supply. That is not the fenugreek for the moms that actually can't take fenugreek. So I think we have like 3 great products. Oh, and then another thing that I think is great about I'm going to show it again, our nursing time tea, is that, a lot of moms have maybe had some tea in the past, and it has a really bad, like a black licorice taste to it. And
somebody said celery, that they thought it tasted like celery.
It's like celery. I think that's the fennel. That's the fennel, and it has a really strong taste. And if you're someone who likes that, I think you do really well with that. If you're somebody who doesn't like that, then it's like you won't drink it. But we have lemon verbena that's added to that, and it really is a light taste. We always bring it to our shows, right, Helen? And I make that big, nursing time tea for all our lactation consultants to try. And the biggest thing they always talk about is, oh my gosh, it has a really nice light taste. So you'll actually enjoy to drink it. So
yeah, it's a good tea. I think that mom should try it. It has this great combination, the goat's root, the blessed thistle, the fennel, all of those things work together to help boost your milk supply. And it does it in a really interesting way. A lot of things that boost milk supply, and I know there was some talk about lactation cookies as well, but any food or herb that boosts milk supply helps to regulate your insulin level. And that makes our mammary cells more sensitive and more tuned in to produce more milk. So it's really cool. It works in a really great way. And we know that people that have difficulty with their blood sugar should check with their doctor before they use it, because it's so effective at regulating the insulin sensitivity. So just to get a little like wonky with you for a minute here, that's kind of that's how a lot of these things work. Remember, we have oatmeal and we have lentils and we have all these things that are slow to digest, really complex carbohydrates, and they work by just making our body regulate that blood sugar. And it's so interesting what we're learning about the relationship between high blood sugar and low milk supply. So just a little education plug here. If you're having trouble with your milk supply, next time you go to the doctor, have them check your blood sugar and see what it is, because that can be something that's a little bit of a clue in to maybe why you're having supply issues if you are.
That's a great suggestion, Helen, because I really don't know if that's something that is brought up to moms when they're breastfeeding, that if they're having low milk supply, you know, we talk about all these things, which I think is great. But knowing that there could be another contributing factor to that, which could be your insulin levels or pre-diabetic levels. So we are definitely giving away our 3, I'll show them back again, our 3 awesome Milky's products to 3 winners. So we'll be picking those after the show, picking those winners and letting everybody know. If you guys love our show and love what we talk about, every month we have a different topic. Sometimes they're really on the edge, and other times they're just, you know, everyday stuff that we like to talk about. Please share our live on your Facebook pages so that moms can follow up and come and join us next month for our next topic. So we love all you guys. We'll definitely go back in, like you said, like Helen said, that we're going to go back in and do a lot of comments. We love you sharing your stories, and we hope that today really helped you guys, know about stress and your breast milk supply, and hopefully you don't, you stay above the curve instead of down below. So.
Yeah, that's right. And next month, Toby will actually be with me in Portland, Oregon for the International Lactation Consultant Association Conference. She's making that long. You're doing like a wagon ride from Florida to Oregon?
Like flying across the country to go to Portland, because it's literally across the United States. But yes, and we're going to be meeting with lactation consultants, and we're going to be sharing Milky's products. For all you moms that are on here, if you wanted to find out about some of our other Milky's products, it is at www.mymilkies.com, or you can go to fairhavenhealth.com. There's a lot of other products there as well. And I think we also can give a coupon code from our show. So Helen is getting ready to share that. I think it's FB Live.
FB Live. Yeah.
And that can give you a 10% discount on any of our other products. So we're going to go back in as soon as we get done and do a lot of comments. I love all the comments, moms. We love talking to you guys, and hope to see you, or we'll definitely see you next month.
Yeah, at our we'll see you next week. We'll be on next week, but we'll just be doing a pop-in, and then July will be our next Boob too.
All right, guys. Love talking to you.